As the Sermon on the Mount continues to look at piety, the next issue that comes up is that of a reward. What is the reward of piety? So this is the Sermon on the Mount and reward. As we continue to look at Jesus' three examples of piety and the greater righteousness, we come across the second word of their threefold structure. And this is a phrase that occurs in the middle of each of the three examples on almsgiving, on prayer, on fasting. And it says this: truly they have earned their reward. Now, this word reward has a lot of misconstrued understanding around it. Perhaps a better way of saying the phrase would be truly they have received their wages. Reward isn't necessarily negative here. It's just saying that the reward is for these people, these hypocrites, these hypocrites, is what they do in the moment. They don't receive anything more. There's this understanding wrapped up in this word that those who are whole and complete will receive a much greater reward. Yes, the person who is hypocritical, who does all these things, gets a reward, and the reward is that moment and the praise and the love they get in that moment. But this understanding of reward goes deeper in Matthew's thinking and Jesus' thinking. Because in the whole virtue, wisdom tradition, a reward was kind of expected. And like I said, reward may not be the best gloss here, the best translation. Maybe better to use a word like wages. We sometimes get really jumpy over this idea in the Protestant church. We want to talk about grace as a free gift, about salvation as a gift. We want to make sure that we're nowhere near the idea of works righteousness, that we're nowhere near the idea of you can earn your way into heaven through works. Bear in mind, what we're talking about here is not necessarily directly salvation. There's this idea in wisdom virtue thinking that if one lives ethically, if one pursues that righteousness, there is some sort of natural benefit to it. It's kind of a working out that happens. Not so much a reward as you did this so you get this as a reward, but there is a kind of natural consequences to your choices, to your actions. So the person who goes, and yes, they're being hypocritical, but they make a big display, they do their prayer, they give their alms, they complain about their fasting, they do get a sort of reward. People go, oh, that person must be quite righteous. So too, though, the person who will do it with a true heart, that will get seen, and that will be resulted in some kind of blessing, in some kind of positive look. And in fact, in the phrase we'll look at tomorrow about doing these things in secret, Matthew highlights in each of these, and Jesus, that your Father in heaven sees and knows you're doing the work. So there is this idea of doing what is virtuous, doing what is ethical, setting your sights on that wholeness, completeness is viewed and seen by God. There is some kind of working out. But it has to be remembered here that the whole point of the sermon is this invitation to flourishing. There is a seeking of flourishing. There is a seeking of wholeness. There is a seeking of being complete. And there is a seeking of having our heart and our actions line up with one another. That's the whole idea behind wholeness, completeness. So yes, these people are getting this reward. But it's not the reward we are after. We're after something more. We're after flourishing. We're after completeness. We're after wholeness. We have set our sights on that virtue vision that Jesus is casting here. He's like, look, if you are setting your sights on this virtue vision, if you are pursuing this, that's not what you do. Your reward for pursuing Jesus, for for pursuing fulfilled Torah in the person of Jesus is not that. It is flourishing and wholeness and completeness. And if we want to understand more about that, then we have to look at the final part of each of these examples. But for now, I want you to think about this. What is the reward you're trying to earn? As you pursue Jesus, are you just wanting the reward of the instantaneous gratification? Or are you truly pursuing the reward of flourishing and of completeness and wholeness in Jesus Christ?